What's really good, my people? Welcome into No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Little. Big Nick the Quick with me as always. We got a mega show. Yo, we're using the F1 lingo. We got a mega show. a mega lap, a mega show. College football national championship was last night. Dogs took care of business. Really interesting game. A lot of different things going on, a lot of back and forth. We'll talk about that, break that down. Then we'll move over to the NFL. The Bears clean house.
Cleaned
new
it.
Coach, new GM on the way. We're going to talk about this Mr. McCaskey press conference.
Gave Bears fans about 3.5 hours of optimism before he hopped on the mic and stopped the show.
AKA the Bill Polian presser, AKA I might have a little different angle on what he was saying, but yeah, we're gonna talk about that. It was a very
you love Bill Polian.
Well, the dysfunction was on
full display.
On full display, like that. We'll keep it there. So we're gonna talk about that. NFL playoffs are coming up, of course. So we'll talk that. We'll talk MVP. We'll talk the Brandon Staley timeout, that Oakland Raiders Chargers game, one of the best regular season games in a while. Definitely one of the best of the season for sure. Yeah, and then we'll do that. Then we'll go to NBA. Klay's back, Kyrie's back. Warriors the favorite. The East is crowded. A lot of things to talk about. So stay locked with us, man. You already know what time it is. We got when Nick came out with the mega, knew we had a lot to talk about. No catch up. Let's go.
Now look at Mossy. Really? Oh, so that's how you're gonna play it. You gonna do this? Okay, fine. That's all I needed. That's all I needed for him to do that. And it became personal with me.
Big Nick the Quick, what's good?
What is the business? How we feeling? Championship week.
Championship week,
Black
man.
Monday over.
Black
NFL
Monday
playoffs
over.
taking shape.
It's already in shape. We
halfway
got
through the NBA season.
Yes, it's all here. It's all for us. I think people don't realize too. Like everyone thinks that halfway season of the NBA is at the All-Star break.
No,
it's before that.
It's way before that.
Like it's before that. So
much before that. Kyrie back.
Kyrie's back.
And now he's hurt again.
Away, Kyrie is back.
I think he's hurt.
Is he?
I think he got hurt last night.
Okay, so
this is what Kyrie does, man. You know, he comes back, gets hurt, comes back, gets hurt. Earth is flat. Let's go.
Collects checks.
Collects the check.
Collects checks. That's it.
Ben Simmons still not back. Hey, where is Ben Simmons? Do you think that Ben Simmons is in? Is he in the state of Pennsylvania?
Absolutely not.
Zero chance.
Why the fuck would he be in Pennsylvania?
You think as soon as it dropped below 50, he was back in LA? No, is he in Melbourne?
Maybe.
Is he in
Sydney? Maybe. Maybe he's in Philly on some. He's getting some type of rehabilitation that the Sixers know about and are locking in with.
So he just got to come out of pocket.
Sure. Yeah. So like, make sure everything is still cashing.
But you think come Saturday he's back in LA? Hidden Hills.
Like I have no idea why he would be in Philly. Like for what?
Yeah.
I'm good off this place. I don't like this place. The fans don't like me. Like what do I do here? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But let's get into it because we got lots to talk about. College football national championship. Kirby Smart finally got it done. Beat the sensei, beat the master, Nick Saban, for his first national championship. I'm going to tell you this. That is a different caliber of football player on the field you was watching last night. Like
both sides.
That's what I mean. On both sides. Like Michigan not playing with none of those boys.
Cincinnati.
We had Cincinnati in the college football play. Listen.
Give it their all.
It's different caliber of people on there. I wasn't watching it live. I was doing some other stuff. I had to take care of some business stuff last night. So I got home at like 10:30 and I turned it on. It was, first of all, when you can just fast forward through everything, the game is legit an hour.
It's an hour. Yeah.
It's an hour. Like, for real. Like, I was fat. Like,
did you not know the result when you had watched? Or
no, I was good.
You stayed off the phone?
I stayed off the phone. I had a couple people give me some hints, but I didn't really, because I was with Jason Hayward last night, and he's from Georgia. So he's kind of a Dogs fan as much. He's not really into the college scene like that, but he's from Georgia, so he was keeping up with it a little bit. And he kind of gave me a couple hints like, "Oh man, I was doing this, doing that." But this isn't the score I was expecting, like that type of shit. But yeah, man, it was good. I watched it the whole way. What were some of your takeaways from it? I mean, I was on Georgia -2.
Yeah.
I've been talking about Georgia all year. I've been trying to tell people all year they was going to win the championship. The defense is just different. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure that it would have been that way if Bama and Bryce Young didn't lose Messi III and Jamison Williams.
Yeah, I think,
that was a major miss, but
absolutely
Georgia got it done. What you think of the game?
Yeah, so I mean, for me, even though for the first three and a half quarters of the game there wasn't any real scoring at all, it was just a lot of field goals, I thought it was a great game.
You were entertained.
Very entertained. If you like defense, right? If you like highlight reel defense, right? Like top of the level guys playing on Sunday type defense, like this was your game, right? Again, it was a field goal fest for most of the game, but it was a tight game. It was played close. A lot of strategy going on. Neither team could run the ball until halfway through the third quarter. Georgia finally came out running. But I just thought it was a really, really exciting game for me. Obviously, the end, if you look at that score, 33-18, that doesn't really represent the entire game. Georgia scored too late.
No, it doesn't at all.
Especially that pick six, which was just awesome.
Sure.
Obviously, I was on Alabama, but it is what it is. You win some, you lose some. But just watching that game, man, Georgia's defensive line is special. Like that's 4 first-round draft picks right there, because when you look at it against Alabama's offensive line, I think Alabama's right tackle is like the number 3rd or 4th prospect in the draft. They were making him look silly. Buddy on Alabama, number 31, is one of the best football players I've ever seen in my entire life.
The
Williams or whatever his name is,
off the edge.
Yeah, that dude. No, not the big dude. He's like 6'4", he's like 6'6",
but he's kind of like long. He's kind of like long though.
Yeah, like literally built for Sundays. I thought neither quarterback really played well overall, but made plays when they needed to. But the defense was just, it's one of those things where you can't even look at it and be like, oh, Bryce Young had a shitty game, because the level of defensive football that was being played was so high that it's one of those where it's like, it's not that the offense played bad, the defense just played that well, right? Like Alabama had chances in the red zone. They had chances close and could not convert, could not score a touchdown. Didn't help that their receivers were out. They had a couple huge drops. 84 dropped a surefire touchdown.
Yeah.
Even the play that Jamison Williams got hurt on, that's a touchdown if Bryce Young puts that in front of him. So no doubt about it, touchdown. It was a bad throw. If you look, Williams had to turn around, catch it facing the other way, and then try to turn back around, which is when he hurt himself. If you put that in front of him, that's a touchdown. So there were some things that if you're Alabama, you're going to look at and be like, man, we wish we had those back. But when defenses are playing at that level, and again, that's on both sides, there's really nothing you can say. And then that Bennett 40-yard touchdown strike was, I know everybody's talking about the pick six and all that, off the offsides free play. Everybody's talking about the pick six. The biggest play of the game, without a doubt, was the 40-yard touchdown pass, because nobody was getting anything for 40 yards in that game, right? Like that was your only chance to score a touchdown in a game like that. And the fact that he bounced back after that fumble, which is one of the weirdest plays I've ever seen in my life, because dude definitely didn't know that he was recovering a fumble. But the fact that he bounced back after that, it was crazy. The fact that he bounced back after that fumble, came out and just hit a 40-yard strike for the go-ahead. I mean, they're already up for the touchdown that pretty much makes it an 8-point game. Then you come back, they get the pick six, and that's all she wrote.
I thought they were dead.
Yeah, I thought Bennett hanged in there tough. Right?
Yeah, he did. He was struggling.
And I don't think he's that good, but he's another one of those dudes. He kind of reminds me of like Hurts, where it's just like, it's not good for 4 quarters when you watch it, but somehow it ends up with a W. So I kind of liked his resilience on that, and obviously his story is crazy. But, man, both teams played hard. You heard Saban after the game. He told Kirby Smart, you kicked our ass in the 4th quarter. That's what it really came down to. That game came down to the 4th quarter. Georgia took all the momentum. They were able to start running the ball. They had 2 massive plays, and Alabama couldn't really do anything.
Exactly right.
And again, man, that's a credit to Georgia's defense. Those guys are different up there. I would take all 4 of those guys. 95 was playing his ass off. 99, Jordan Davis, we know all about him. What they got, that linebacker number 4, he's good. Just high level defense all over, from if there's 22 players on defense that play in that game, 15 of them should be playing next year on Sunday for a check.
And the beautiful thing about Bennett is he's locked in at Georgia forever.
Yeah. He's immortalized.
He's gonna be calling. You're gonna hear about Bennett calling, like he's gonna be like the voice of the Bulldogs for like the next 60 years or something.
And he grew up there. He said he told his dad when he was 3 years old he was gonna be the starting quarterback for Georgia. Yeah, I mean, obviously he's not gonna be playing on any type of Sunday, but
absolutely not.
But yeah, he's a Georgia legend. So I mean, I think for Kirby Smart to get that monkey off his back, especially the way that Alabama handled them a couple weeks ago, it was a great game, man. I was thoroughly entertained by that game.
Yeah,
I like me. I like defense.
Bennett could be Taylor Heineke, I guess.
No, he could not.
They're the same guy. Same guy. Him and Taylor Heineke, the same guy.
Don't ever disrespect Taylor Heineke like that.
Come on, bro. Just give him a little time. It's the same dude, 100%.
No, he's not an NFL player, but congratulations to him, man. He's a Georgia legend, so it doesn't really matter. And Bryce Young is young, man. He'll be back next year. They'll be reloaded. There's a whole bunch of guys that'll be ready. Obviously, losing those 2 receivers. I think they're losing the receivers was huge. When it first happened, I'm just like, okay, Alabama has like 5 first-round receivers waiting to play anyway, so it doesn't matter. But you really saw the inexperience. It was particular 84. Like 84, he was locked in on for most of the game.
Yeah.
Him and the white dude, the little Wes Welker type guy that they got over there. Yeah.
But you never know.
You never know. Yeah, but 84, he made some plays and he missed some plays. He played like a freshman. So
it was fun, man. The atmosphere was crazy. I thought the atmosphere was a lot of fun.
I still haven't been to Lucas Oil. I've been to Conseco. I haven't been to Lucas Oil.
I haven't been to Lucas Oil either. I would like to get down there. See, it's all there. It's always college stuff, and we're not locked in on.
We're not locked in on college. It's a solid town for events because of how it's built. When you start talking about, that's why they get Super Bowls and national championships and all that shit, because it's kind of central and there's shit to do. I know how you feel about Midwestern cities, but I'll give Indy some credit. It's a decent little event town.
All right. It's okay.
Decent event town.
All right.
I mean, really, I think they should hold everything in New Orleans and call it a day, but
call it afternoon.
Every event should be at the Superdome and just call it a day. It's the easiest place to do it. Miami, New Orleans, and a rotation. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's jump to the NFL, man. A lot of people got fired. Some deservedly so, some not so deservedly so.
Some people still holding on to jobs that shouldn't have them.
Joe Judge still has a job.
How is Joe Judge still employed?
I'm not exact. They got rid of Gettleman.
Yeah, he retired, quote unquote.
Yeah, the good old retirement, huh?
The good old requirement.
The step down, huh?
Well, I don't understand. Yeah, the judge, to me, the judge hiring was crazy. I remember we talked about when they hired him, like New England special teams coordinator. So you just want to hire anybody who knows Bill Belichick.
Like, I know the juice is tough, but come on.
Yeah.
Like how does he skip up to a head coach? Like, nah.
And some people will make the point like, oh, well, Ditka was a special teams coach. Harbaugh was a special teams coach. But this is different. No one knows who the fuck Joe Judge was.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to hear that. And you just look at the lack of progress that team has made over the last 3 years. Your quarterback gets worse every game if he's healthy. You lost to the Bears. I think he tried to throw the Redskins under the bus in a press conference last week.
Did he?
Yeah. He called them. He said someone had asked him about the team. He's like, well, we're not some clown show organization that's fighting on the sideline.
That's fighting on the sideline.
And Ron Rivera came out and was like, hold on. Like, how
about you talk about your team,
you clown?
Yeah.
Which, I don't want to smoke with Rivera either. That's just, I don't understand how that dude keeps his job, but Brian Flores, I'll let you take it because
that's right. I mean, so how many we got? Like 4 or 5 fired. We got Nagy's out, and we're going to get to the Bears here. That's an easy one.
I told you about Zimmer 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, you
said I would have fired that guy. I would have fired that guy so long ago.
Yeah, you know, like, dude, like I told you, that shit wasn't on my radar for whatever reason. Maybe I had just slotted them as like a mediocre squad, and you know what it is? I think my boy Zimmer's really good to me against the spread, so I had no issues with Zimmer.
It's like Teddy Bridgewater. You're like, no, Teddy Bridgewater's a great quarterback.
Yeah, he's fine. So Zimmer's been good to me against the spread, so I didn't even think about him getting replaced. But Zimmer's out, Nagy's out, Zimmer's out, Flores is out, Fangio is out. Is that it?
Yeah,
I think that's it, right?
That's it.
So let's go through Zimmer. Well, we don't even have to go through Zimmer. We talked about that before, but what was your initial thought on the Flores thing? Because I was shocked by that.
Yeah.
They had a really good year last year. Then this year they started off really, really slow. They're still battling, trying to figure out what's up with Tua. Is he the guy? But
they had a 7-game win streak this year.
To start the year, I think they were 1 or 2-7 or 2-8.
Yeah.
And then to close it with like winning like 8 of 9 or 7 of 8 or whatever it was,
which I call momentum,
is
including beating the Patriots.
Right. But it kind of shows you like the guys are still very locked in. They're still playing very, very hard. It's hard to turn around a 1-7 team, and that's what he did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was shocked to hear him go, but I think that's a perfect example. I was reading a bunch of stuff, and it was like he doesn't get along with. Okay, this is what I read, and this is my take on what I read. He doesn't get along with Tua, and him and the GM.
Tua stinks.
And him and the GM, like the relationship wasn't there.
That's the one that bothered me.
That means to me, the
black coach and black GM not getting along.
They gotta get along.
And Brown quarterback was like, oh,
gotta get along.
That's the holy trinity for me.
So what that means to me is the GM still believes in Tua, the coach doesn't.
Yeah.
So when the coach doesn't believe in the quarterback that the GM believes in, the coach and GM are going to bang heads because basically the coach is like, I need a new quarterback.
And the GM is handcuffed to the quarterback unless you're Ryan Pace and you get 8 cracks of the apple. But most of the time, you select a quarterback that high, that is your guy.
You live
for better or for worse. It's like getting married.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and honestly, I'll give Miami credit is that they didn't waste any time with it.
No.
Okay, Flores doesn't believe in the quarterback. We got to move off this dude. That's it. Because this is going to be the quarter. Like, they didn't waste a year. They easily could have brought him back the next year. It would have been the same shit. They might have been solid, but if you're bumping heads and don't believe in the quarterback, your whole thing is time's ticking.
You double down that with not getting along with your boss either, who's also going to be on the hot seat because the next firing is going to be him, right? If it doesn't go well on this next hire and Tua doesn't continue to develop, it's on his hot seat. So he needs to make a move. He doesn't get along with Flores. He wants to bring somebody in there. Like you said, Flores clearly doesn't believe in Tua. The organization is focused on supporting Tua because that's what you're supposed to do when you have a young quarterback. So McCaskey, you support your quarterback.
Right.
So you make a move in favor of that quarterback to build up confidence and give him another shot at being the guy.
This is one of those situations where I think everybody wins.
But Brian Flores didn't select Tua over Justin Herbert.
Correct. It's true. Hey, and I'm going to say this, but I think this is a win-win for everybody because I think Flores is going to get another job.
Absolutely.
And Tua now gets a little reset with a new coach, and the GM thinks, he's got a clean slate to get it going.
Well, we hope he gets another job, but that's what everybody said about Caldwell when he got fired from the Lions, and he still hasn't got another job. So who knows?
Well, Caldwell was is an old school dude. This is a little different.
Do you know that Caldwell? I looked up this morning. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
Caldwell.
He was like 150-9 or something.
He was 36-28 with the Lions and went to the playoffs 2 times in 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
If you're the Detroit Lions, I don't know what the fuck you were looking for that was better than Jim Caldwell, but I didn't realize it was that good. I didn't realize it was 8 games over 500 with two playoff appearances.
No, he was
a good coach. 11-5, 7-9, 9-7, 9-7. Like that's if you're the Detroit Lions, you should take that.
Is he in the league at all?
I think he might be doing some special advisor shit, but it doesn't make any sense. He should be in the league unless he doesn't want to be, but he's only 66. So go ahead, man. So you're saying it's one of those situations that's going to work out well for everybody.
Yeah, because
hopefully Flores gets to the top of the list in some organizations, but there's only 4 jobs.
I think what I'm saying is I don't think it's one of those spots. I think he eventually gets another job because he did a good job over there. So I think he'll eventually get another head coaching job. If it's not this year, maybe it's the next or the following, whatever it is. But he put on his resume that, hey, I could run an NFL franchise. I've done it. Here it is. And they did pretty good. I just didn't have a quarterback. And you heard to move over to Vic Fangio. I love when people are, they're just, and this is what I want to say about McCaskey too. But these coaches aren't holding back on the quarterback shit anymore.
No.
They were like, in
Listen
your
to Rex
division.
Ryan on Get Up. He throws Sanchez under the bus every other day. and backs it right
backs
over
him up, rolls him over again.
Yeah, all the time.
So
And that's his
Fangio
colleague.
came out and they asked him about like the rest of the division, like the Chargers and the Chiefs.
Quarterbacks.
You know, Fangio's the head coach of the Broncos. He's
Raiders.
like, yeah, the Raiders. He's like, well, two of those teams have top tier quarterback play.
And the third one has a good quarterback in Carr. Good enough.
And that was like all he said. Basically, like, I don't have a quarterback up here, man.
Give me Drew fucking Lock.
Y'all can run me out of town if you want to, but I'm gonna let y'all know it wasn't. I don't have no quarterback.
I had no quarterback. I had great defense, tons of talent, no quarterback. Yes. You guys ran me out of I thought it was interesting that he got fired too. I mean, I guess that there might have been some game management stuff and some other stuff with them, but you gave him Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater and said, hey, man, go win some games like in the AFC West, right? Like it wasn't happening, man. You were at a disadvantage with that quarterback. You had the fourth worst, you're the worst quarterback in that division by a long shot.
You know, we talk about this, and Vic might be a different situation. But, man, I'm not taking a NFL head coaching job without a quarterback. I believe in. You think you should just take any job that opens up. Vic
I
is
think it's
older.
hard to pass it down. Yeah,
but
he's
like,
been trying to be a head coach his whole life.
Right, and he's been around 25 years. I get that.
This is his shot.
But that's what I was saying about Bieniemy. It's like, dog, for me to leave. Like, for example, what's our guy from Ohio State? That Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
That's why he came. He was like, I got a quarterback. I got the first pick. I'll take Lawrence, and then I'll give it a shot. Like,
they got a whole bunch of money too, but yeah.
Vic went over there. They didn't have a quarterback when he got there. It's just like, man, like of the opening, like what's the most attractive opening?
Yeah, so I want to talk about that with Bears, you, right? So if you're looking at it from that perspective, yeah, it depends on where you are with Fields, because it's not like, here's the thing, man. Like we in Chicago have a ton of optimism around Justin Fields, right?
Right.
But if you're a coach coming in from another organization, you're just like, fine, show me the tape. You're not really like, oh my God, I can't wait to coach this guy based on his NFL tape last year. Let's call it like it is, right? And he didn't. I'll put it this way. There were a lot of things going against Justin Fields this past season, if we're being completely honest. So I say that most of this isn't his fault, but there are also he played like shit. He did not play good, right? There were a few moments, flashes, things like that, and I fully expected to get better under a competent regime if that's what we bring in. But there's also things where you look at and you're just like, ooh, like, yeah, there was certain aspects show like, hey, he probably wasn't fully ready to do it. So if you're a coach, if you believe in your ability to turn him around or coach him or believe in his talent, absolutely the Bears are the most attractive job for several factors. Number one, and like let's not downplay this, it's the Chicago Bears, right? It is the Chicago Bears. It's a premier franchise. It's a major media market. And if you win here, you are immortalized. Look at Mike Ditka. Mike Ditka is immortalized as the head coach of the Bears for coaching a unit that he didn't even coach. Right? Like he's an offensive coach for a bad offense that had one of the greatest defenses ever, but it doesn't matter. He's still a legend in football for coaching the Bears, even though he didn't really do too much to help the Bears other than being on the sidelines looking cool and saying funny quotes and shit like that. Really, Buddy Ryan was the coach of that team and the reason that they won a Super Bowl, but Ditka's immortalized, right? You look at some of these other cities, you could win in Denver. That doesn't make you famous. Hey, let me ask you a question. You probably know this now, but if you were to take 10 NFL fans and say, who was the head coach of the Broncos 5 years ago when they won the Super Bowl, how many of them do you think would actually be able to answer that question?
Not a lot.
Who was the head coach of the Broncos when they won the Super Bowl?
You're talking about the last one with Peyton?
Yeah. See?
Hold on.
See? No one knows. I know. No one knows.
I'm tweaking. I have to know tweaking. This.
Yeah. You should. Gary Kubiak.
Yeah, it is Kubiak, huh?
Gary Kubiak. And where is he now, and who cares about what he has to say, right?
Man, so it was Kubiak.
It was 5-6 years ago. It was not a long time ago. This was recently. Yeah. It was Kubiak, and nobody cares. But Mike Ditka won a Super Bowl 40 years ago for a unit he didn't coach, and he'll never pay for a meal again anywhere in the continental United States. So, you know what I mean? It's Chicago, right? And obviously, the opportunity to coach Fields. So you look at that. Yeah, the roster is probably better in Denver, right? The roster is probably better in Miami. The roster is certainly better in Minnesota, from an offensive talent standpoint. But the allure of coaching the Chicago Bears and all of that will pull you in.
Fuck all that. You gotta pick whatever quarterback you believe in.
So would you take so if that's the case, then you go with Kirk Cousins because he's the most accomplished quarterback that you should be walking into a room with.
Priority you have as a head coach. You could fix all the other shit. You have one opportunity, a 2 or 3 year window to pick a quarterback that you like.
So who are you taking? Is it Minnesota? I mean, Minnesota has the best quarterback.
Hey, before I go to Denver, I'm calling Aaron Rodgers like, hey, man, look, you leaving or what's popping?
That's the problem with Denver. That Aaron, and I told you a few weeks ago, Denver should get off the air. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is leaving. Number one, I think they're gonna go to the Super Bowl. Leaving. I don't think he's leaving. I think this whole thing is flipped. I think he has the organization by the balls, and I think they wouldn't dare not listen to Aaron Rodgers going forward. I think that's the truth. I really do. I don't think he's leaving at all. I think that's his show. They're going to rename Lambeau Rogers Field. Like, he's going to get whatever the fuck he wants over there, and he's not leaving. But even then, it's a pipe dream, man. Who's to say that he's going to go to Denver? If I'm Denver, I already told you what Denver should do. Call Atlanta. Call Atlanta. Give me Matt Ryan. What does it take to get Matt Ryan? If you feel that your roster's that good and you have all this talent on defense and you have Jerry Jeudy and all these other receivers that you feel are good, then call Atlanta and get Matt Ryan in there. Do the same thing that the Rams did with the Lions. Call Matt Ryan, who can probably still give you 2 more years, and bring him over. I don't think that – because you're going to spend all summer going after Aaron Rodgers, and this dude is so sometimey, you don't know what the hell is going to happen. Rodgers – I'm calling Atlanta. I don't understand why teams weren't calling Atlanta this summer.
That dude is whack, man.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. He's accomplished, and he's better than what you have right now. Is he better than Teddy Bridgewater? Absolutely. Is he better than Drew Lock? Absolutely. Let's keep it real. Is he better than Matt Stafford? Maybe. He's won a lot more ball games than Matt Stafford. He's had a lot higher highs than Matt Stafford.
In that situation,
he won a fucking MVP and took his team to the Super Bowl. Matt Stafford has ever won a playoff game. And I've told you about Stafford already and where I am on.
Yeah, you will despise Stafford.
I'll unload Stafford. Stafford sucks. I don't understand. I don't understand how you can play in the league for 14 years, never win anything, and then all of a sudden everybody's like, "Oh, Matt Stafford MVP." Look at the last 5 weeks. He's been awful. Look at that game on Sunday. He was awful. Awful. He loves to turn the ball over. What was that pick that he threw? That last pick. I think what's it called? Jalen Rose called it a punt yesterday.
Yeah. No,
he's terrible. Bad. He's bad. He's not good. What are we talking about here? Since when did Matt Stafford become elite? I just missed the part where Stafford's elite. I've seen Matt Stafford 2 times a year for the last 13 years. He's not elite. He's good. He's very talented. Huge arm. Loves to turn the ball over. Doesn't win anything. Don't trust him. So if that's getting you 2 first-round picks, then why aren't you making that call to Matt Ryan in Atlanta? That's the type of quarterback you should be looking for. Somebody who still has a little bit left, who knows what they're doing, and is a clear upgrade over what you have, and is probably motivated to leave. Because if you're Atlanta, you should be rebuilding that thing. You should not be trotting Matt Ryan out there to go 7-10 or 8-9 another year. I told you, he's just good enough to make you where you're not bad, where you end up with the first pick of the draft, but you won't make the playoffs with that roster.
Yeah, you're in no man's land.
You're in no man's land with him. So get something for him. If I'm Denver, that's the call that I'm making. But that whole Rodgers pipe dream, if you're a coach for going after the Broncos and you're like, I'm going to take that job because Aaron Rodgers might come, that's a risky proposition. I'd much rather go to Minnesota or Chicago or even Miami where you have Tua. It's the same situation as Miami, right? If you're looking at Tua and Fields, you're like, man, which one of these guys would I rather coach?
Honestly, I wonder if Rodgers is on the phone with Elway, like, yo, let me finish up. Let me pick what coach I want, and I'll package it up. I'll come over. I pick the coach, and I'll come.
I don't think he's leaving, man. I don't see it. I think the whole year is flipped this year.
Why would you leave? That's not a bad proposition, though. Because fuck Green Bay. He doesn't like them.
They're 39-10 over the last 3 years.
He doesn't, bro. Especially, I'm on the exact opposite. I think
with an MVP.
I think if he gets a ring, too, he's like, yep, I'm good. I don't like these dudes anyway. They traded all my homies away.
Get rid of Gutekunst.
Get rid of Gutekunst.
Like I don't think he has a problem with the floor.
Oh no, he's cool.
Matt LaFleur saved his has resurrected his career. I mean, it was already great, but oh my God, come on. But Matt LaFleur has turned that shit into win, not resurrect, but you know what I mean. Matt LaFleur is the perfect play caller for Aaron Rodgers. Perfect. He's been perfect play caller for him for 3 years. He's playing some of his best football right now under LaFleur. You saw the Mike McCarthy years at the end. They were shit.
Sure.
LaFleur has been good for them, and he will have the organization by the balls. And it's a familiar situation.
This is the same. This is like the Brady Belichick conversation. Like, man, Rodgers is making this shit work.
Brady was never going to get total control. Brady was never going to be the most important guy in that room.
I think you're giving these coaches a little. Hey, let LaFleur lose that boy. See what happens to his record.
Yeah, I understand, but I'm saying LaFleur has done a great job. That's fine. LaFleur has done a great job with Rodgers. He's done a great job with him.
I'm not saying that. You said he resurrected his career. Are you out of your mind?
That's probably a poor choice of words, but you know what I mean.
Listen, they've done well together.
They were rudderless under Mike McCarthy. You had a great quarterback and you weren't doing shit.
Well, hold on a second.
No, you had a great quarterback and you weren't doing shit.
They were doing pretty much the same thing. They were going to the playoffs and losing. And Rodgers was doing his thing. They've been doing that. LaFleur got him in the NFC.
Mark McCarthy's 2017 in Green Bay, Mark McCarthy 7-9, 2018 4-7-1. What playoff is that?
Well, Rodgers was out.
The last 2 years? Was he out 2017 and 2018?
He was out one of those. I'm pretty sure almost like the back half of the year. Look at games played. Either way.
For 2 years?
I understand.
I don't remember Aaron Rodgers being out for 2 years.
The 7-9 was there, but he was out for a good chunk of one of those years. Pull it up. He had a collarbone, I believe, and then he had
Aaron Rodgers missed games in 2017. That was it. 16 games, 16, 16, 16, 16, 16, 16.
So he won 4 games in 2018, Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers in 2018 as a starting quarterback was 6-9-1.
Huh.
Yeah. And then wait. And then Matt LaFleur comes 13-3, 13-3,
well,
13-4.
Towards the end of that last year when they went 6-9-1, he had gave up on McCarthy, and it was like he had given up. The shit was.
I would have given up on Mike McCarthy too. Have you ever watched him coach? Ever watched him coach a ball game?
So
I've given up on Mike McCarthy before this game this weekend. That team is one and donezo. When we get to the playoffs, I'll tell you, they're done. That's the worst matchup they could have drawn. That's the worst matchup they could have drawn. Kyle Shanahan, I said it the other day on Twitter. Kyle Shanahan's going to run coaching laps around Mike McCarthy.
Well,
he's going to be lapping him.
Let's wrap this piece up, and then let's get to the Bears. LaFleur's done a really good job with him. LaFleur loses Rodgers.
Yeah.
It's going that the shit you was talking about was like LaFleur came in and he the reason they doing shit.
Absolutely. It's hard. It's hard to win. It's hard to lose when you have Aaron Rodgers playing.
Right.
But they have lost with Aaron Rodgers playing is what I'm trying to tell you. He has seen bad coaching. He saw it 2 years before LaFleur got there when he's like, this guy has to go. There's a reason McCarthy was fired.
So you think that he would stay because of LaFleur? That's what you're saying?
I don't think it's just LaFleur. I don't think he's saying
why else would he stay
because of Matt LaFleur. I think he's saying because he'll have that organization by the balls. If you look at what he was pissed off about, he was pissed that they didn't consult him on decision making. He didn't feel like he was the most important person in the room. He didn't feel like he had a say in personnel. He didn't feel like organization or decisions were being ran through him. They drafted a quarterback. All this long list of things. I get he's a spiteful guy who doesn't even talk to his family. So maybe still at the end of all this, he might say, "Hey, I want to leave." But I just think as far as what he was looking for and what he wanted, he's gotten it. He's going to get it from them. They will do everything in their power to appease Aaron Rodgers. Everything, because they saw what life was like without him last year or this summer when he didn't show up till the end. And they got blown out by the Saints in week 1.
I think they're going to make they're going to make a deep run. Who knows if they win the Super Bowl or not. They're going to make a run.
Fuck around and will.
And he's going to be like, I think it's more likely he leaves if they win a Super Bowl. If he wins the Super Bowl, I think he's like, here you go. Here for the fans. Fuck that franchise. I'm going to go ahead and reset, go out to Denver and kick it there. His ladies from out there and shit too, I believe. Like,
he needs to start fucking with these weird chicks too. He be fucking with these weird chicks.
Rodgers is an odd dude.
Dog, those interviews with McAfee, and then it's a beautiful mystery, and like with the hat with the media, it's fucking weird.
Yeah, Rodgers is an odd dude. Best quarterback I've ever seen with my own 2 eyes. Nick, how long have I been saying that?
Yeah, for sure. No, you've been saying that a long time.
I literally been saying that for 10 years.
Hey, we might be watching the second best right now in Cincinnati too.
Straight up. I texted my guy Mikey. I'm like, look, man, if I don't hear this Pace news, Who they?
Yeah, who they?
Hey,
Too far. Few hours in Cincinnati.
They run pace out here. I'm going to pick up a fucking Bengals t-shirt.
Remember, that's where I was with Josh Allen last year. I was like, you know what? I'd rather root for a quarterback. I'll just attach myself to a quarterback for the rest of my life and go from there.
I
don't need this. I don't need this shit anymore.
Next 10 years, just root for a QB.
100%. Yeah, give me a quarterback. So yeah, I'm just of the belief that he's not gonna go. No, I wouldn't be shocked if he did though. It's not where I'm like, yo, if he leaves, I'm gonna be floored because he's Aaron Rodgers and you never know. Yeah. I just do feel like I feel like part of this was kind of a leverage play, and he has so much leverage right now that it's absurd. Like he could literally, I'm not kidding. Like it could be Rodgers Field. Like I don't fuck Curly Lambeau. This is my joint now. You understand? That's what I want. That's what I want.
Fuck Lambeau Road. I need Rodgers Road.
Rodgers Way. Rodgers Way. I need the whole thing.
I need you to take down Favre shit.
This is beautiful mystery drive. I want all of that shit. I need all Favre. I want Brett Favre's jerseys out the building.
That's so funny, bro.
Bart Starr, all of them can go. I don't need any of them niggas. I'm the only quarterback that's ever played here.
I need the Hall of Fame ring to say Rodgers all the way around.
Rodgers Ring of Honor. I just want my accomplishments. Let's need my accomplishments. I don't care about none of these. I don't care about none of these other folks. Hey, that's what I want. As a matter of fact, nobody owns this team. Let me get that.
I need the whole team.
Like, I need that.
Give me that too.
I need that. City owns the team. Now I need that. I need some shares.
That's funny.
I need some shares. So yeah, that's what I think. But so if I'm not, I'll put it this way. All that to say this, I'm not going after any of these jobs with the expectation that Aaron Rodgers might be there. I'm not going after any of these jobs with the expectation that someone that isn't there right now is going to be there, because that's how you get burned.
That's how you get fired, yeah.
Look at what's there, look at their draft positioning, and make a decision that way. But roster-wise, top to bottom, the Bears probably have they got the worst roster out of all these teams. They're the least amount of highlights.
Denver's roster is solid.
Denver has a solid roster. Minnesota has Jefferson and Cook.
Yeah,
they have some guys that can play D. Miami's roster is not great, but they're solid. They got a bunch of guys you don't know, but they're good.
The thing about Florida is like that team's not even. They don't even have any players.
They have no players. Yeah, they're just winning games.
Yeah, Kyle Van Noy,
he's over there now.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
so
he's one of those guys that Belichick decided he was done with. When Belichick's done with you know the deal.
Yeah, exactly.
You got about 2 years left. So yeah, I think the best it's to me it's between Denver and Minnesota. The only that Minnesota has is you're walking into a situation in year one where you do have a quarterback, right? Yeah. And if they decide
Isn't
not
that
to move
deal
forward,
coming up though?
Yeah, the deal's up. So here's the thing: the deal's up at the end of the year. You're buying some time too. It's like, hey, I came in here with Kirk. You guys didn't extend Kirk. Now I get to structure a new quarterback. So you might get that extra year because you get the lame duck Kirk Cousins year with them.
But you still that year still counts. You know what I'm saying?
You got but you also have offensive talent over there. You got some talent on O. Justin Jefferson's a fucking problem.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying. And let's get into the Bears, because that's what I was saying about the Bears.
The roster's shit.
Well, for sure it is, because Ryan Pace put together a shit fucking roster.
Shit aging roster on defense. Aging D.
Shit aging D. It's a shit roster, right? Shit. But the thing about what you're saying is that's why they should have got fired last year, because you bring in a new coach with a new quarterback.
Yeah.
But you get new coach, new quarterback, new regime, and y'all all start together.
It was a waste of a year, because it's not like when you're like, hey, we want to give Nagy and Pace another chance to do something. It's like, yo, the roster's so, and look, Nagy, I blame Matt Nagy for a lot, but the roster was shit, so he wasn't going to do anything. The Bears weren't going to do anything this year anyways. They literally, the definition of going into reverse and backing into the playoffs is what happened with the Bears last year. Right. So to think that this year they were going to come back around, we talked about last year, defense that's another year older, right? And you lost some guys due to the salary cap clusterfuck that was this offseason that ended up costing us Kyle Fuller and both of our starting tackles, right?
Yeah.
Like literally a salary cap clusterfuck by them. And then we give paying Andy Dalton and Foles like $30 million not to play. So a lot of that money does come off the books, which I think the Bears from a salary cap perspective might look attractive. But also from a team building perspective, the Bears aren't attractive? Because we don't have draft picks. So it's not like, yo, I'm coming in this team. We got 7 picks in the upcoming draft, 4 of them in the first 4 rounds. We're going to be able to get some talent. You don't even have a first-round pick. The Giants have your first-round pick. So it's not like you're coming in there saying, hey, I'm going to be able to rebuild with a whole bunch of guys. Ryan Pace traded all of our picks for this current roster that cannot get above 500 and score more than 17 points a game. So you're in a bad situation there. The only reason you come to Chicago is if you want to work with Justin Fields and coach the Bears. So that's why I said the allure, you hope if you're the Bears, the allure of coaching the Bears comes into play. Because if you're looking at straight roster and right away success, that's not the Bears. This team won't be good next. There's nothing they can do to be good next year. There's nothing they can do to be good next year. They're going to be towards the bottom,
but that's
or
what
whatever.
I'm saying. Why did we don't have to get into?
Yeah, we can talk about that. It was a mistake. We talked about it last year.
We knew that going into the year, it was a mistake that we're going into the year with these guys. It was a waste of a year, and the only reason we did that is because McCaskey didn't want to pay 2 people at the same time, whatever amount of money it was going to cost. So that's what we burned the year knowingly. That's it. Like, we knew we were going to burn the year. All right, let's get into some of these clips. So, hey, I mean, let's at least celebrate that Nagy is now fired. He's gone. That era is over. I'm trying to think of what head coach this is for me. It's like 5, I think.
No, we can go way back. I mean, okay,
6?
so we got Wani. Well, okay, we had Dicka when we were kids. It goes Dicka, Wanstead, Duran.
Wanstead's the first one for me.
Dicka, Wanstead. This is how bad this is. I can name them all. Dicka, Wanstead, Duran, Smith, Tressman, Fox, Nagy.
Yeah. They're all shit.
Oh, and only one was good. No, Lovey was good.
Yeah, Lovey was good.
Now, the Bears were, you know what? We've been embarrassing for a couple of years now.
Think
never embarrassing under Lovey Smith.
Never.
Hey, no quarterback, fine. We're never going to fucking be embarrassing. We're going to go out there. We're going to play. The defense is going to give effort. So look, man, like, I knew it was probably time to part ways with Lovey, but I'll never look back on the Lovey era and be like, yo, it was never an embarrassment. Tressman was an embarrassment. Nagy was an embarrassment. John Fox was fucking checked out when he started coaching the team.
Right when
I didn't know why they hired him. He didn't even want to coach. He's like, fine, I'll take the money.
Because Pace was so bad and so many big spots.
And Fox.
Well, look, they went and got Fox as a stopgap. Why are you even hiring stopgaps?
And it was like known that he was just like a stopgap.
It was like, hey,
it was after Tressman. You want a professional head coach.
We're gonna give Trubisky a year to sit and learn, I guess, and we'll get Fox and Glennon to go give him some time. It's just nonsense, right?
It was very Bearsy.
Yes, very Bearsy. So, which clip do you want from McCaskey first? So then McCaskey comes out.
Let's set it up. So let's say obviously Bears fire Nagy. Then a couple hours later, fire Pace, right? There had been some talks about Pace possibly getting moved up in the old Jerry Reinsdorf special, the Kenny Williams / John Paxson special. It's like, can't be the GM anymore, but I really love what you do. We're just going to promote you, and you're going to be my right-hand man.
Yeah.
So it didn't pull the Reinsdorf. Thank God for that. Fired both of those guys, which then set up the George McCaskey press conference. If you don't know, George McCaskey is the chairman of the Bears, son of Virginia
He's the
McCaskey.
owner of the Bears.
Owner of the Bears, essentially.
He owns
in
the
charge.
Bears.
Yeah. Son of Virginia McCaskey, who is the daughter of George Halas, or granddaughter of George Halas. I forget which way it goes. For all intents and purposes, the number one guy at the Bears. But even when you listen to the press conference, apparently he answers to ownership. He really said that I have to answer to ownership. It's like, nigga, you are ownership.
He's talking about his mom.
She has no fucking idea what's going on. So he comes out.
Upset,
yeah, she's very disappointed. He goes, just like a mother would say, she's very disappointed. It's interesting. So he comes out for his press conference to kind of tell you about the state of the Bears, right? Clearly, there's some tough questions that got to be answered. He comes out from the very beginning. I don't know if you have that. We don't have the beginning clip, but I'll tell you this. He starts the press conference by doing this. He comes out, gives condolences to Jeff Dickerson. Anybody who's followed the Bears forever knows JD was a longtime ESPN Chicago reporter, did a great job for the Bears. He passed away from cancer. His wife had died 2 years earlier. They leave a 14-year-old son, lost both of his parents, very sad situation. So obviously McCaskey comes out and talks about that. Uses that situation to then transition into why booing Matt Nagy's kids at the football game was unacceptable, which I agree with. Don't boo the man's kids at the football game. I thought that shit was lame as hell, right? Whatever. But the fact that he used that to set that up and criticize Bears fans, to me, lets you know where this press conference was going. It was pretty much a big F you to the fans. I'm sick of hearing it. Y'all don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Y'all are so stupid that you boo kids at high school football games, essentially is what he was saying. He really transitioned straight to that. He goes, which is why, and then tells the story about Nagy's son getting booed at the high school game, which to me I thought was incredible and let you know exactly where this press conference was going to go.
You could see it on his face when he came out. He was pissed off.
He was pissed off.
He was pissed.
So this thing quickly got unhinged. And the reporters, shout out to all the reporters in Chicago media, because I have never seen, it's like the Formula, remember we always talk about the Formula One press conferences where like these guys are like, wait, no, that's bullshit. Like answer the question. Yeah. It was very much like that. Like, no,
they held his feet to the fire for real.
You're not sidestepping some questions. So yeah, that's going to lead into a couple of these clips that we got right here. Let's start with the Olin Kreutz one. No, you know what? Let's start with the asking about Bill Polian being involved in the decision. So a lot of it was based on Bill Polian is going to be consulting the Bears. I think he said Bill Polian at least 30 times in the press conference and referenced his book another 10 times. So clearly Bill Polian, who we'll get to in a minute, is going to be advising them on this decision, which someone had to ask a question about.
Joe Lewis?
Yeah, hi, George. You mentioned Bill Polian and, the years that he's had. You mentioned yourself. Was there ever, or is there ever a concern or a thought given to possibly having a younger group of, I guess, his consorts looking into a GM and head coach? Because it's not, of course, to, shade your age, but the game has changed since the last time Bill Polian was really active in the league 10 years ago. So was there ever a consideration to perhaps a younger group or people who have been in the league as it's modernized more recently?
Well, I appreciate the spirit of the question, Joseph. Yes, we're not exactly spring chickens, but Bill's been around the game for a long time. He knows the game very well. And I recall George Halas was in his 80s when he made a then very controversial, but ultimately successful selection for a head coach. And Bill's much younger than that.
Well, look, listen.
No.
Listen.
These are the folks in charge with running your Chicago Bears, everybody.
Who's running the Chicago Bears, man?
Just compared the George Halas hiring Mike Ditka to Bill Polian selecting our next head coach in 2022.
Yeah. It's we've said this a lot of times. It's just like a mom and pop. They run this shit like it's the league up the street.
Yeah, so we're just going to find an old guy who we don't believe in bringing in young people, new people. We're resistant to all that. Bill Polian's been around the game since the 70s, all right? He understands. He thrilled the nation with his T formation. He understands. That's what we want. That's what we want. That's who we want. We want that type of football. We want Bill fucking Polian. Bill Polian. Do you have the Polian clip that I sent you yesterday? Bill Polian. Let's start on Bill Polian real quick.
Oh, I should. Let me go ahead. I'll get that clip.
Bill Polian, a guy who literally the best thing that he ever did was draft Peyton Manning over Ryan Leaf, right? Like that's why Bill Polian he's heralded as this genius because he's the quote unquote architect of those great Colts teams that ran the 2000s. Ran the 2000s so much that you have arguably a top 3 quarterback of all time. And you won 1 Super Bowl. How many Super Bowls did they go to?
2.
1? 2? Who'd they lose to?
No, they only went to 1.
They only went to 1 Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So in all that time of all these teams that you architected when you had the vision to select Peyton Manning number 1 overall, the vision to select Peyton Manning over Ryan Leaf, who coming into the league was an alcoholic who fell asleep at fucking the rookie symposium or whatever it is, at his pro day, was literally sleeping during interviews. And he said, maybe we'll take Peyton Manning over this, which gave you a run of success and victories that led to 1 fucking Super Bowl that you won over Rex Grossman. That all of a sudden, you could never fix your defense over there in the Colts. Remember that? Every year, they could never fix the defense.
They lost a lot of big games.
Those boys were scoring 50 points a game and giving up 55. The defense was ass for years. He could never fix that. But this architect, this guy who we trust so much, this guy who told you that Lamar Jackson's a wide receiver, this guy who told you that Johnny Manziel is the best quarterback in the draft, this guy who's like 80 years old is the guy who you trust to make this pick. And how dare somebody question you on it about why you're not bringing someone who is involved in the modern game, who knows what modern players want, who knows what modern offenses look like. You haven't had a modern offense in forever. You didn't have a modern offense in 1985 when you won the fucking Super Bowl. You have never had a modern offense. You have never played modern football. And your solution to that is to bring in Bill fucking Polian to consult you on all decisions football because he's so plugged into the game. It's disgusting. That press conference was disgusting. If you watch that whole thing, if you listen to it, if you heard some of those clips, it's disgusting. The Bears gave you optimism for 3 hours, then this fucking guy came out and stepped all over it.
Here's the Bill Polian. Here's the Bill Polian highlight reel. And for those who can't hear it, it's like a lot of
Bill
here it is.
Wanted to make Lamar Jackson a wide receiver. What does anybody know? They don't know anything.
And again, short and a little bit slight and clearly not the thrower that the other guys are. The accuracy isn't there. Yeah. So I would say don't wait to make that.
He was on doing this for a long time too.
Executive of the Year in the NFL, Bill Polian. Bill, you've seen the tape. You've seen the highlight-making plays from Tyrann Mathieu when he was at LSU. Is he worth the risk, in your opinion?
No, in a word. This is a guy who's a nickel back, who's a return man, who has a deficiency covering man-to-man, who's speed deficient. On top of that, he's proven to be irresponsible and continues, in my mind, to show some degree of irresponsibility. That makes him a poor teammate and a poor risk. I don't know why you'd want him at any price, but if you were going to take a chance on him, it certainly wouldn't be tonight in my mind.
So would you take him in a very late round, or would you consider him an undrafted free agent kind of player?
We would take him off the board.
He also said,
wait. We go try to save him. He like, look, well, okay.
Late round, okay.
What about late round, maybe even an undrafted situation? Polian doubled down on it, said, I would say he doesn't exist. Take him off of our board.
Couple things. That video continues to show that Polian did not vote Lamar Jackson on any all-pro team when he won the MVP. The year that Lamar Jackson won the MVP, this man, so that gives you a lot of insight into his character. He had a bad evaluation on him and could never let it go, right?
Yeah.
So even when Lamar Jackson is out here winning MVPs in a year where he was fucking spectacular, you didn't even give him it wasn't a first-team all-pro, no all-pro vote. If that's the type of stubborn guy that you want making decisions for you, that's what you want. He couldn't even come off Lamar Jackson 4 years later when Lamar is the fucking unanimous. Nobody else is even close to Lamar that year. Yeah. MVP. And he did not give him a single all-pro vote. He said Tyrann Mathieu is a nickelback. This is an all-pro safety in the NFL.
This is a Heisman Trophy finalist.
This is a Heisman Trophy finalist. Honey Badger had issues at college. I'm not going to sidestep that at all.
Yo,
he had some shit. Whatever.
Not really though, because if you go back and you look at what they were, he smoked a little tree like 99%, like 99% of the people do in college. Yeah. So that
in the world,
when when you look back at like what the actual issue was,
regardless, right? But to come out and call him a nickelback, like, yo, this is a guy who we use in a special package. He's a nickelback. He's off my board. He said Chad Kelly was the best quarterback coming out. The richest thing in there though was I had a first round grade on Tom Brady. I saw Brady coming. No, the fuck you didn't, because you were involved in the league at that point in time. And I guarantee you, if you had a first round grade on a quarterback and you're in the 5th round and he's still there, I don't care if you have Joe Montana in front of him, you fucking draft him.
Yeah.
when you get that late in the round. So you didn't have a first-round grade on Tom Brady. You did not have a first-round grade on. So you're the only person in the world. That's some hindsight is 2020 shit right there. Then you have the Chad Kelly thing. I don't even know who the fuck Chad Kelly is, but I know he's not doing anything in the NFL right now. Johnny Manziel was not the number 4 pick in the draft. Lamar Jackson is an all-pro player and is not a wide receiver. He has some deficiencies as a quarterback, but he's not a wide receiver. You want to compare him to Terrell Pryor? Terrell fucking Pryor? Yeah. Come on, dog. Then what else did he say? I mean, come on, man.
Well, Polian, they're kind of like a match made. McCaskey and Polian are like guys.
Perfect.
They're like a match made.
2 old white dudes who have no idea what the fuck's going. But the Polian all-pro, all you need to know is that all-pro Lamar Jackson thing. He had a bad grade on him coming out and refused to move off it, even though his own 2 eyes told him something different. Yeah. How in the fuck in a year when a guy wins MVP can you not vote him all-pro? And it wasn't a tightly contested one. Lamar Jackson was MVP by like week 9. It was over with. He didn't even have to play the rest of the year. He was lights out that year. They went 14-2 or some shit.
Sure. Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%.
I don't want to hear it, man. And this is the guy who you trust. This is the guy who you bring in. This is who you sell to Bears fans. And the amount of time, and make no mistake about it, the amount of times he said Bill Polian's name tells you everything about who will be making this decision for the Chicago Bears and who he will be leading on. Just like last time when they brought in Arnie Accorsi, and he's the one that told them about Pace, who told them about Nagy. It's the same shit. There's nothing different here. It's the same thing. Let me bring in old football guy. Next, in 4 years, they're going to ask Bill Parcells to come in and find us a coach. That's where we're headed.
Here's and similar to how Nick is fired up, the Cat Man was fired up on NBC Chicago.
I thought George McCaskey today embarrassed himself. I thought that was the single worst performance by a Chicago sports executive in a press conference city in 30 years. He was truly awful today.
Yeah, well, and the problem is you and I were part of a show on almost the exact same day last year where we were saying a lot of the same things.
Like, what do you do
about that press conference a year ago? So for it to repeat itself today, I think was quite frankly startling. That they didn't seem to understand the tone of last year.
But why should we be surprised? Shame on us.
Yeah, well, and that's why I tweeted afterwards. I said, stunned again, and I know better.
Right.
Like, I know better.
Yeah.
And real quick to go on the point of coach of the Chicago Bears and how it gets you a lifetime of fucking happiness. Dave Wanstead, mediocre coach for the Bears, getting checks from NBC Sports Chicago 30 years later.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, facts. So, the only thing that I'm gonna say is that because we talked about this off air too, was it would be he would have a lot more leeway, George McCaskey, if he didn't disappear 99% of the year and then pop up literally when everything is in shambles.
But what does he have to talk about?
Well, he could like address the situation and the status of the team. I mean, listen, he talks once a year, and then he's getting upset when people are asking him a lot of questions.
Questions they've been waiting to ask him.
Like, bro, we haven't talked to you in 12 months.
Yeah.
And by the way, you continue to fuck up. It's not like you're making great decisions. Like, then you come out and give us this tone, and we got to move to the NBA. But here's the last clip of McCaskey talking about Olin Kreutz, a very well-respected Chicago Bear in the city. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, before we even do that, if we're going to move off the press conference after this, because the Kreutz is going to take up some time, let's talk about something else he did yesterday.
Yeah.
When they asked him, this to me was probably the biggest thing. They asked him, is it a prerequisite for the next head coach of Chicago Bears to have faith in Justin Fields, right? Does that coach have to express a strong desire to work with Justin Fields? He could have easily come out and said, absolutely. We took Justin last year, 10th overall, and we fully believe that he is the franchise quarterback for this team going forward. Instead, he said, the next head coach of the Bears, We want to know what their plan is for the quarterback position of the Bears. Not Justin Fields. He referred to it as the quarterback position of the Chicago Bears.
Like it was open. Like it was.
Do you understand how that is a vote of no? That's no confidence in your quarterback. Like you have every chance you can to say, hey, look, man, we know this was a tough year, but we still believe in you, right? I talk about what the Dolphins did. You fire a coach because you don't believe that he has the vision that matches with you and your quarterback. You have the opportunity to not refer to him as the quarterback position. You have the opportunity to call him by name. You have the opportunity to say, we believe he's a franchise quarterback, and you don't. And you don't. You say the quarterback position for the Chicago Bears. There is no quarterback position for the Chicago Bears. It's Justin Fields. He is the quarterback position for the Chicago Bears. The audacity, the arrogance. It's unbelievable. The out-of-touchness. This is why you don't talk all year, because you don't fucking have anything to say. You have no idea what's going on. You can't read the room. You can't understand what's going on out there. How the fuck do you skip that opportunity to endorse Justin Fields after what just happened, after the year that they just went through, after you just fired everybody he's known for the last year? How do you not take that opportunity to say, hey, man, that's what you do with a young quarterback.
We're going to go.
We got you, bro.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that who comes in here is invested in your success. Not the success of the quarterback position. You've been trying to figure out the quarterback position for the Bears for 120 fucking years. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. That to me was unfucking believable. How dare you?
Yeah. And this is what he had to say about Olin Kreutz.
George, Olin Kreutz told a story the other day about how the Bears offered him essentially somewhat of a consulting.
Hey, you know what? I knew it was going to get interesting when he went to get that sip of water.
Yeah.
You heard?
It's one of these.
Look, for those people just listening, the reporter asked him about Olin Kreutz, and McCaskey instantly goes to grab a sip of water. Like, yeah, I'm getting ready to go in on buddy.
I've been waiting.
I'm gonna start it over. Here it is.
George, Olin Kreutz told a story the other day about how the Bears offered him essentially somewhat of a consulting role with the offensive line for $15 an hour. Were you aware of that offer when it happened, and what was your reaction whenever you were aware of it?
I've learned over the years to take just about anything that Olin says with a grain of salt. And I look forward to hearing that story again and hope he includes it in his Hall of Fame induction speech.
So you're saying that it's not true?
That's the way it is sometimes with Olin. Don't get the whole story. And Olin knows what the story is.
That's the first time you've seen that in full?
Yeah, he called him a liar.
You just called him a liar.
He called him flat out.
He literally, not just about this though. He called him everything. He said everything he said. He said just about anything he says, take with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Listen.
As a man.
Fuck as a football analyst. Fuck about this job. As a man, don't trust nothing he says. And he's a media guy. He's attacking us. Don't get up there when Olin comes on, talks on TV after the game.
Don't listen
to anything he says. He's a fucking liar. I know him. I employed him for years. He's a fucking liar. That is what he said.
Yeah, that's what
you just and again in a press conference
with a smirk on his face too.
The smirk, I know this motherfucker.
Like this motherfucker.
Man, I got stories about Buddy.
Yeah.
Listen, man, in a press conference when you really should be appearing contrite, right? At the mercy of your fans.
Humble. Yeah.
No, it's crazy, man. You got me into this soccer shit now. And then like it's the dynamic that these like European football clubs have is like we work for the fans. We serve the fans. I was watching this one and they were talking about how their earnings report was about to come out.
Yeah.
And they're like, man, we made $30 million last year. It's like, but we can't tell that to the fans because we were shit. How are we supposed to spend this to the fans? Could you imagine the Bears being like, yo, how are we supposed to spend earnings to the fans, man? We've been shit for 100 years. They don't give a fuck. So for him to come out here in a press conference where you should be contrite, and getting the fans to believe in you and saying, hey, guys, we know this hasn't gone right. Instead, you take one of the most prominent players over the last 20 years, a guy who was universally respected by teammates, fans, media members, a guy who is a lifetime Chicago Bear, a guy who still works and lives in this town, right? And you stomp on his credibility. You stomp on his credibility. You call him a liar. You say don't listen to anything he says. You smirk about it. You come off as a pompous, arrogant asshole about it when you could have easily sidestepped it, right? And kept his integrity intact. You could have easily, Olin says some things. I get it was a rough season, and we're happy that Olin and we still have players like Olin still in the mix. That's it. That's it. Instead, you say that guy's a fucking liar. Like the audacity. I've never seen anything like that.
But is it just was this McCaskey's like reminder of like, hey man, I'm running shit. I don't really give a fuck about what y'all are talking about. Y'all can come out in the media, say whatever you want, but don't forget who's making the decisions. This was kind of his reminder to Bears fans, like it or not. Hey, you see my last name? I own the team. My family runs shit. I'll make decisions. I'll essentially do whatever I want. Don't forget that. That's kind of the statement I felt like he was on from as soon as he stepped on the mic.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like I've been listening for the year that I've been away. I've heard what you guys have said about us, and I'm going to come up here and tell you we know what the fuck we're doing. We're the Chicago Bears, damn it.
Exactly.
We're the Bears. What do you mean? How dare you? We're a proud, storied franchise.
Exactly. That's exactly what it seemed like. Like it was a reminder.
It's actually crazy.
Also, and
he got up there and did that.
And it also shows that he doesn't necessarily respect the fans too much.
No, it doesn't. No. Oh my God, that was the number one thing I took from this. The fans don't matter.
Yeah, he doesn't.
There were barely any references to the fans. He didn't talk about the fans.
Yeah,
he didn't talk about them at all. Like he really didn't. It wasn't about the fans. It was about him and their process. He didn't even ask who's going to be in the room when you conduct this GM search. Me, Ted, fucking Bill Polian, and the two black people that he hired, the director of social engagement and the inclusion chick.
Yeah,
like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing? And I get it. I'm not against, like, you've worked in the corporate world. Panel interviews are a huge part of it. Obviously, a decision like that, you bring your top people in there. But when your top fucking people outside of the two black people, because I got nothing against them.
We don't know anything about them.
Do your thing, get your checks.
Yeah.
But I do know that Ted Phillips and McCaskey, who are not football people, should not be involved in this decision. If you like Phillips' ability to negotiate deals from you and he does the money stuff for you, then keep him the fuck over there. Keep him over there.
Well, he kind of said that, no?
He said, well, now he's not. Now the GM's going to be reporting to him instead of Ted Phillips. But Ted Phillips, if that's the case, then why is he in the room interviewing for the GM? Football ops and business ops should be separate then, if that's what you want to do. Because if that's the case, he's not in the room interviewing for that because it has nothing to do with his job. His job has nothing to do with football if that's the case. But it's not. They're going to do the same old thing. You know what he said when he's looking for in a head coach? This is crazy. This tells you how much he cares. He could have came with a great answer on what it is that his vision is for the team. He said, I want tough, gritty, smart, opportunistic team football. Like, come on, what kind of cliche bullshit is that? Tough, gritty, smart. That's what I want. Like he's literally saying, fuck you. I don't got to give you an answer. I don't have to let you know into my thought process. You don't deserve to know what I'm thinking. Just know Bill's going to be there. If you're ever worried about it, Bill's going to be there, and that's who I'm talking to. It's fucking disgusting. I have zero faith in this team going forward. That, for like the couple hours of optimism that I had that we might do something right, nope, we're going to hire Doug Peterson.
Well, that's the thing, too, is like...
So Bill Polian's not going to bring in some young gun. He's definitely not going to bring in some young gun because he doesn't fucking know any of them.
I also... yeah. I also think it's one of those things where, like... we would have a hard. It seems like we might have a hard time bringing in like a very boisterous, big personality head coach. He would.
He said that too.
He would just clash with people.
They asked him. They asked him that too. They go, "You hired a Pace and Nagy because they're nice guys." He's like, which he didn't like at all. And he's like, "Would you ever consider bringing in someone who might not be the most friendly guy, but he's a hard nosed, no nonsense guy?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, we're not just looking for nice guys." It's like, look, man, that's who. Mike Tomlin's not warm and fuzzy.
Yeah, you
No,
hired the guys. Yeah, these are the
guys you want. Bill Belichick isn't fuzzy.
Yeah.
These are football guys, man. Like, yo, I don't care if they can win press conferences. And let's keep it real. It's not like Nagy was out here running press conferences. He was an asshole. He got up there every week and told everybody how dumb they were.
Yeah.
Let's just keep it real, man. Look, tough, gritty, smart, opportunistic. I couldn't believe it.
Okay. All right, we got to leave it there. We'll come back to the Bears another time. That's a solid 40 minutes on the Bears, though.
Can we give quick round one playoff predictions and we don't got to spend too much time on it?
Yes, let's do it. Let's go NFC first.
Oh, and dummy of the week, Brandon Staley.
Yeah, that was.
So I wasn't watching the game when he went for it on 4th down in his own 20. So like we were talking, I was like, I wasn't 100% sure. Then I went back and watched it.
Dog,
I have never. That is special.
Like, I get you want to be aggressive and all that.
That was stupid. It was a 10-point swing, and then the timeout. I don't care. I've rewatched.
Yeah.
Yo, Raiders buddy came out and told you like, yeah, the timeout flipped everything for us. What a fucking idiot. All right, let's go.
All right, well, let's start in the NFC. Philly in Tampa versus Tampa. Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Line's 8.5. Any way, shape, or form, the Eagles can go in there and get a W.
Nah. Shout out Sirianni. Shout out Hurts. Great year. They traded Carson Wentz and somehow Wentz tried to rebuild and tank and somehow got better. Tells everything you need to know about Carson Wentz. Look, man, when you bash on Hurts a lot, I get it. I will say this. The guy wins somehow or another. Winning time, like he makes it happen.
I owe Hurts a little love because I have been saying like, yo, I don't really have faith in him throwing the rock. He's been really, really good. He's been very dynamic. And the back half of this year, they've been solid.
So good program over there.
Shout out Jalen Hurts.
0 chance against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't care how many receivers the Bucs are out down. Just a much better team. They're playing at home. Tom Brady's not going to lose in the first round of the playoffs.
Not going to lose at the first round unless like they just have no answer for the run game because Philly's going to run it.
Yeah, Philly. Yeah,
maybe if somehow Tampa just is getting destroyed on the ground and they keep Tom on the side and Jalen makes a couple plays. But
it's like why can't I don't want to go back to it, but why can't we get a guy like Sirianni? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, we could. I mean, it's possible, but
these guys are available, but Bill Polian's not going to find them because he's going to find a fucking dinosaur. Yeah, and I got the Bucs all day in this one. Again, great story from Philly. Shout out to them. But Bucs are going to run rampant.
You kind of tipped your hand on this, but Niners at Cowboys.
I think it's a bad matchup for the Cowboys, man. I've been saying all year, Mike McCarthy, I've been saying multiple years, Mike McCarthy's not a good coach and fails you in big moments. If this game is played tight and I'm a Cowboys fan, I'm shitting the bed.
Yeah.
Scared shitless of what I think the Cowboys are the most boomer bust thing out there, right? Like they had a great year. They're 12-5, won a ton of games. They have a ton of talent, but they are boomer bust. They're either smacking you around or they look like shit. They look like the Denver game. It's either the Philly game where they win 56-14 or it's the Denver game where they go and get smacked around. Sure. And that's a lot to say about a 12-win ball club. But be honest, you don't feel that confident in that team.
No, this is the
defense is the definition of boomer bust. Like it's not a great defense. They just make plays.
Yeah,
Trevon Diggs is a microcosm of their entire defense. It's either pick six or someone scoring on me.
Yeah, no, exactly right. I think especially from like a betting perspective, I would leave this game completely
fly
alone.
Away. Put me in another time zone.
But listen, there's always that team that comes into the playoffs very high and very confident and coming off being down 17-3 against the Rams to turn that around, have the fans in that building. They hate the Rams. They get the W. Debo's going crazy. They're pretty healthy.
Dog,
Jimmy G is now back.
This might be my favorite player in the league.
Yeah, Debo is a beast.
He might be my favorite player in the league.
Yeah, Debo's a monster. So, yeah, I am going to take in the game. I'm a big Kyle Shanahan. I mean, I don't know, man. That's a good
play
one.
Caller.
I'll take the
Garoppolo's
Niners.
So shaky.
Yeah, but he can have
he
a good
wins,
game.
But he wins. He's another guy that wins football games somehow.
Yeah.
He's shaky as all hell, but he does win football games.
Yeah, so I'll take the Niners because they're hot, but it's
a better coach.
I would stay away from this game, but this is a coin flip.
See, I'm inclined to. I got to see what the line is on Sunday. But if it looks very pro Niners, I'd be inclined to.
My guess it stays there or goes down.
Where's that right now?
-3. Cowboys -3. I don't think it'll move too much off that. To be
I don't trust the Cowboys. I'm just gonna be completely honest.
It's
do
McCarthy.
not trust the team. It's McCarthy. It's the unevenness. It's just man. It's a fancy car, but you look under the hood. There's some major fucking problems.
Yeah. So
in a bad matchup against a better coach, Shanahan.
A better coach, and
much better coach who knows what they want to do.
And you know that
the ball.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
They ran all over the Rams on Sunday.
Okay, well then let's talk about your boys in Arizona.
Yeah.
Arizona goes to LA to play the Rams. Line is Rams -4.
So shaky.
Monday night. This is the Monday night game. So we got Saturday, Sunday, Monday night. Salute Martin Luther King on Martin Luther King Day. What do you think?
Yeah, this game is shaky central too.
I got I'll go first. I got the Rams. They take care of business. I think I've never seen. I shouldn't say I've never seen how the momentum was flipping back and forth in that Rams-Niners game was crazy.
Yeah.
The momentum carried the whole thing. I think the Rams can come out early, get rolling. I haven't dove into any of the numbers and did any of the breakdown, but these guys are familiar with each other. I trust McVay at the crib to get a W. I'll take the Rams to win.
Yeah, I'll probably take the Rams in this, but I don't feel great about it because, again, I think that
Stafford?
Yeah, well, look at the last few games. He's very shaky at the end of the season. You talk about teams going in hot who you don't want to play. They're coming in from the quarterback position very cold.
He was really bad.
Really bad. Like, he was really bad on Sunday.
Yeah.
The last pick was egregious.
Last like 4 weeks, he's been really bad.
He's been really bad, which is not what you want. I mean, obviously that team has a shit ton of talent, especially on the defensive end and a ton on the offensive end as well. Cooper Kupp, Beckham, those guys. But it comes down to the quarterback. But still, I think I'm taking the Rams. I'm taking the Rams in that. But it's a coin flip. It could go either way. The Cardinals are started off the season hot. Last half of the season, very, very inconsistent. Some really bad losses to the Lions, the Seahawks, whatever. A lot of talent, but yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go ahead and take the Rams in that one. I don't feel great about it though. There's a lot of stay away. This wild card round is fucking stay away city on the NFC.
Spooky.
There's not a single game I like on the NFC.
All right, let's go over to the AFC. We are blessed with Patriots Bills 3
Love it.
on the year in Buffalo. Lines -3.5. I like Buffalo big.
I like Buffalo too.
Buffalo's gonna bust their ass. I think.
Yeah, the rubber match, right?
Yeah, it's the third matchup. They're going to be at the crib. I think let's not forget about how serious that Buffalo Bills pass defense is.
Yeah.
I don't think Mac's going to be able to throw the rock. I like Buffalo here.
I mean, they won a game against Buffalo where they didn't throw the rock, so who knows?
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Depends on their defense is really good.
But both teams couldn't throw the rock in that situation. It wasn't like if they're going to have to throw the rock. It's going to be a good game.
It's going to be a really good game, and I'm not surprised if the Patriots win. I'll put it that way because
I just spoke out of both sides of my mouth. I think Buffalo wins by like 10 points. Okay. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know if Buffalo's going to go that big. I think it's going to be a very close game. I don't think the Patriots defense is going to go in there and get blown out. The issue Buffalo can't run the ball, and they don't attempt to, and that always concerns me. In a game where Bill Belichick,
they'll run it with Allen though.
But Belichick's whole thing is we take away what you do well. So Belichick's forcing them to run the ball through some defensive scheme. They're going to have some major issues because it's just something that they don't do well. But obviously they have the better quarterback, a lot of talent over there. It's hard to go against Belichick in the playoffs, though, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I think he's got a lot out of this roster.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
If you're a Patriots fan going forward, you're fine, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You're a Mac Jones. You're good
supporter. Yeah. Definitely. I think for year one, definitely. I think he's bought into the whole system. I think he'll just get better and better and better for sure. Raiders at Bengals.
Yeah, this is going to be the Bengals are going to smack them all over town.
You think Raiders did what they needed to do?
They did what they needed to do, man. I'm happy for them, man. Everything that they went through, but that team, I think they have like one of the worst point differentials ever to make the playoffs. I think it's like the third worst in modern history. They're like a negative 70 point differential on the year. So it shows they've won some close, and which makes sense. You went some of those games, especially in the beginning of the year, where Derek Carr was putting on his cape in some of those fourth quarters. You think about what was it, the Baltimore game, a couple games early on in the year. I just think that they don't necessarily have the talent to compete with the Bengals. The Bengals did lose to the Bears though, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's NFL, but
Yeah.
I'll take
the Bengals comfortably. Yeah, comfortably at home. But shout out the Raiders, great year. Shout out Derek Carr. Shout out Derek Carr.
No doubt. All right, last one. Pittsburgh at the Chiefs.
I mean,
it's over.
It's over. Talk about bad point differential. It's the Steelers. I don't understand. Dude, I looked at it. Do you know that in first quarter of games, they're second worst in the league for scoring. Second quarter of games, they're like fifth worst in the league for scoring. Third quarter of games, they're like fifth worst in the league for scoring.
Steelers.
Fourth quarter of games, they're second in the league in scoring. It just doesn't. It's a bad team that starts bad, but somehow Tomlin just doesn't lose football games and brings them in. But that's not going to make a difference at Arrowhead against the surging Chiefs, who seem to have figured out a lot of their deficiencies. So shout out Steelers, great year for them. You know where I stand on Mike Tomlin. I think he is the gold standard in coaching. I think behind Belichick, he's the best coach in the league because he just takes these shitty. The Steelers roster has no talent outside of Watt and Claypool, really. But it ends here.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm excited to see what these Chiefs look like at the crib too.
And shout out Mike Vrabel, hell of a ball coach.
Number
getting
one,
the bye for the Titans, getting all these wins out of Ryan Tannehill, whose career was dead. Talk about resurrect. He resurrected a career.
No question.
No, without Derrick Henry too, like that thing. That's a team. That's a football team that has an identity and knows exactly what they want to do. And it's a head coach that doesn't seem to panic too often. I'm a big fan of Vrabel.
Yeah, Belichick tree.
Yep.
But all right, we'll leave it there. We'll get to some NBA at some point this week. Hopefully, we could try to hop on and run that back because we got a lot to talk about there. We kind of went off on the Bears a little bit, gave you a little hour 20, hour 22. But you know the deal. For Big Nick the Quick, I'm your host, Sean Little. Make sure you subscribe everywhere, man. No catch up across the board. YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher. Tell all the homies, tell a friend to tell a friend. Also, if you haven't, check out my new project, man. ChicagoBreezeLegends.com. It's for the city. It's for a good cause. Check us out. Lock in. No catch up. Sports Talk via Chicago. We'll see y'all next week.